Imagine a world where anyone could be an early investor in startups such as Facebook, Coinbase, Uber, or Tesla. Imagine a democratized world where everyone could have the same opportunity to leverage their capital. Imagine a business model that can challenge traditional investment funds, bringing a fair finance world. We all know that cryptocurrencies and startups have the biggest leverages of the market, but having access and information to be part of it in its early stages is a challenge for most of investors in the world, isn't it? It was hard until uShark's birth, but not anymore. That's why people call us game changers. Let me introduce you to this model of investment never seen before. First, you must know uShark is a benchmark in real economy world application and doesn't depend on just one single technology. Why? Our mission is to make a difference in all sectors around the world and in areas such as big data, blockchain, food tech, healthy tech, and fine tech. Second, due to our tokenomics based on a long-term company, our community is our driving force to turn one of the biggest investment funds in a record time. In summary, more holders, more demand, token raise, and startups portfolio increasement. We bring democracy in investments. We bring the access, often for the first time, to anyone, especially to those who, with low income, rarely have the opportunity and education to invest in startups. uShark aims to become the major bridge between crypto market and applications in the real economy, with recognized worldwide partners such as Cubo International Training and Assistance Unit, the biggest hub of South America, Fortune Israel, supported by alumni angels from Harvard Business School, and Gulf Cooperation Council, as seen on Forbes. But you should be asking, how does it work? This crypto asset enables anyone to support companies likely to become a unicorn and also allows them to be part of a decentralized autonomous organization and vote in which startups will be invested. First, uShark issues the token. Then, investors buy USH via Bitcoin through the platform. Third, the funds are allocated in an investment fund in the United States of America. Fourth, hubs bring startups into our platform. Fifth, the community of uShark members votes to prioritize investments in startups. Sixth, with the results published on a blockchain, uShark funds invest in startups. 7. Startups that receive investments periodically report their results to the community. 8. uShark receives profits, dividends, or exits from startups. 9. We buy back the tokens on the exchange and burn the USH, making the asset scarce and deflationary. And 10. The scarcity of the asset can generate a great appreciation of the token, allowing future rounds in new pools of startups. Transparency, disruption, democracy, and community are our main values. Have you ever imagined being part of a promising startup's portfolio? It's not just a token, it's a revolution in the current blockchain crowdfunding and token ecosystem. Being a Sharkman is much more than just being a holder. It means being a part of a movement of new entrepreneurs and investors era. We are the main bridge between game changer ideas and future world change.
Good evening, everyone. We are online right now, ok? And people from here, o evento vai ser todo em inglês. Então, quem não pegou fone e quiser pegar fone para tradução simultânea, só acessar a lateral, ok? Please welcome. We are uShark Crypto Panel. And to start this event, I want to invite Renata Zanotto, Head of Startups here in Kubo. Renata, thank you.
Thank you, Thiago. Thank you, Thiago. And first of all, congratulations for the initiatives and welcome everybody to Kubo. I'd like to start to know. I'd like to know from you who already know Kubo. Please raise your hands. Nice, nice. So I'm here to give you guys an overview about Kubo. What is Kubo? What we do here, and what are the startups that are here. So Kubo is a hub of connection, and what we do here, we select the most relevant startups in the ecosystem, and we put these startups in front of our other startups, in front of big companies to generate business, in front of investors to investments, in front of universities in terms of talents, and also in front of the whole ecosystem to create and to generate strategic partnerships for the startups that are here. Right now, we have more than 300 startups in all sectors. So we have startups, HR startups, we have edtechs, health techs, and most other sectors right here. And we put these startups in front of the ecosystem to generate business. We do a selection process, so the startup that are here, as I mentioned, are selected to be here, and they need to fill some criteria. So they need to have the product validated in the market, they need to generate revenue, and also to have the potential to scale. Also, we have the corporates. So we help the big corporates that wants to do the digital transformation, the cultural transformation, and we put the corporates in front of the startups to be close to the innovation and to generate business with them. Also, we have our partners. So we have partners to add value to our startups and also to the corporates that are here. So we have more than 11 partners right here at Kubo, such as IDB, like Waira and AB startups, and also others from the ecosystem to generate value to the startups that are here. So this is the overview about Kubo. We have this building. We have events running here every day. So we have an average of about 5 events running here every day with more than 1,000 people coming here every day from the ecosystem. So we have startups, entrepreneurs, investors, big companies, accelerators, and the whole ecosystem here connecting, generating connections, generating business and opportunities to fostering entrepreneurship, not only here in Brazil, but also to fostering entrepreneurship in the whole Latin America. This is our main objective here at Kubo. So I'm so happy to have you guys here at Kubo to be here in the event. So it's a pleasure, Thiago, to be here, to receive you guys here and to run this amazing event. Have a great event. And thank you so much, Thiago, and please come here. And just to, because I know that there are some startups here, so for the ones that wants to apply to be in a Kubo's network startup, you can apply in our website, so kubo.network. You can submit the form, and then you can run in the process. Thank you, Thiago.
Thank you, Rê. Guys, 1 minute, please. Not yet. Okay, thank you. My name is Thiago Leite, and before I I tell you who I am and what I do, I want to say two things. First, I'm very happy to be here tonight, because I had three startups here inside this building, and to stay here on the stage and remember all the pitches I've made here is very, very awesome. And the second thing, to break the ice, I want to propose we make a deal or agreement. This agreement, there is one condition and there are two items, okay? The condition is, in the end of my presentation, if you really like it, really, really like it, this is the first condition. And the item is, you stand up and clap your hands. And the second item is, follow me on the Instagram, and I will know people that loved my content. Okay? Fair enough? If you agree that, just thumbs up. Okay, we have agreement. So, I ran a business for more than 14 years, and I became a specialist in startup and growth. Nowadays, I support all the companies and startups to grow. Since when you were guys were invited to this event, you are listening and writing about startups. Renata said about startups. This building was built for startups. I start my presentation saying that I had three startups here. But have you ever thought, what is the difference between classic business and startups? I will tell you. Let's get started with classic business. For this example, I will take the bakery. If this bakery wants to grow, it needs to invest in space, in maybe buy another bakery, or creating a new parking. What it means, the line, the re- uh, the revenue line and the expensive line walking always almost together. If this bakery wants to grow, it needs to increase its expensive. And the classic business always needs to be profitable. Otherwise, it's damaged. On other hands, we have startups. Look at the difference of this graphic. A startup in the first doesn't make enough money at the first, but then grows exponentially. And why? Here we have the J curve. The J curve, I think, is obvious, looks like a J. It's a very important line for startups, because here they understand if the business is going well or not. And here we have a valley in this J curve. And the name of this valley is Valley of Death. Why? Here, the startup is trying to fit the product to the market. And the name of that is product market fit. If the startup doesn't have a fit, maybe it's broken. And 80% of them up and down here. It's a lot. And many reasons. Lack of money, lack of investment, lack of team, lack of everything. Okay? And those who invest in startups in this moment are accelerators, angels, or incubators, and the acronym FFF, or triple F. Do you know what is triple F? This is very funny. The first F is family. The second F is friends. And the third, the fools. I think that I don't need to explain why. 80% die here. But when startup achieves the break even, it's a very important thing because the revenue line and the expense line are at least together. And here appear also another type of investment, the seed capital. The seed capital entered in the business in the very first beginning, the very early stage, and they have a very profitable um, revenue with with the exit of these startups. And then we have all the stages to support the scalable line. This called to a scalable line for startups. And here we have all the series of investment. The first called Series A, then Series B, Series C, Series D, all the alphabet, okay? And who invests there is venture capitals, merger and acquisition, and strategic alliances. In the end of the journey, we have the exit or the IPO. I don't know, guys, if you noticed, but when you are buying stocks from a company, you are entering in that moment in exit. If you bought stocks from Nubank from 9, do you know who is laughing right now? Do you know? Who, Geraldo? Warren Buffett. He entered in Nubank in the seed capital stage. So the $9 now, maybe it was cents, okay? Just for you to think about it. And understanding all this life cycle of startup, we can talk about a famous animal in this world of startup. You will see the startup is like a zoo, okay? There are many, many animals. And the first animal I want to talk about is a unicorn. Maybe you listen about this unicorn. What is unicorn? Unicorn is startup uh, that its valuation is more than 1 billion and grows too fast. All this movement is very, very fast. Okay? But unicorn, it's a dream of many, many, many startups wants to be a unicorn. It's a dream of startup. At least it was, because nowadays, latest news shows unicorns from all the globe in the serious problem. They have grown too fast and disorderly. Spent spent all the money, contract a lot of people, and now are in mass layoffs and going to bankruptcy. It made another animal come into spotlight. Do you know what this animal is? Is it alligator? Zebra? It's a camel. Why camel? Camel lives in the desert in a heat and spend long days without water. Startups that grows in a sustainable mode are attracting more investors right now, and I think it's in this moment it's all the investors are looking for startups like this to invest. But the question is the end of the party for unicorns? I hope we can come up together with this answer, because really I don't have this answer. I want to get with this answer with you guys. And finally, uh, remember, give lights to people and we'll find a way. In the difficult moment, we need more lights. Okay? Thank you. The agreement, the agreement. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much. And now we have our talk show, and I want to invite with me together Geraldo Marques, the CEO of uShark. Geraldo, please welcome. Quer que chamar os outros convidados? Sim. Please.
Yes. Um, Good evening, everybody. I would like to invite. We have three.
Sorry. Okay.
Is it working? Do you hear me, guys? Yep. We have three special guests outside of Brazil. I would like to invite them. We'll have a 15 minutes small conversation with Bia from Canada. Brian, please come on. Tim Sandit from Germany. Please, Tim, come on. And Kieran from United States. Please join me on the stage. You, Bia, you can sit there. Yeah, you can go by the side of Tiago. This is your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, in this first part, we'll talk just 15 minutes because I have Enzo Nakaz giving me all the feedback about the time. We know that we have some people blocking on traffic. But this first point, I would like to introduce you guys, some of the people behind and supporting our project, and people in this first moment need to understand about their knowledge, their background, because in the second part of our panel, it's going to be a very good part when we will show you details about our business model and how uChark project can bring a disruption to the financial market, not only in VC environment, but also in a very complicated market called the crypto market, you know. First of all, I'd like to start with Tim Sandit, my friend from Germany. Tim, first of all, people would like to know better about you. I would like to talk just about 3, 4 minutes about what do you do in Germany, your background as businessman, and just so people know a little bit more about you.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for having me here. I'm really, really happy to be here. It was a long flight, but it was definitely worth it right now already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Germany, 31 years old. I used to study tourism and hospitality management in Austria, Vienna. It was a private university, but I knew right away this was definitely not my dream job, and so I decided and looked for something else. Looked to get kind of like self-employed somehow, but it was difficult. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna do? You want to be on one spot or you want to travel the world. And there I found the business model network marketing for myself. I did network marketing for some physical products. And then I think it was like 2014 when I came across crypto the first time. Unfortunately, I didn't buy it right away because I was like, a little bit scared. What is it? It's something new. And now I know, okay, I should have definitely bought it at 2014. But anyway, yeah, a few years later, I think Geraldo and me, when did we meet Geraldo? I think it was 2018 or something like that in Berlin, in Germany. And yeah, we came along very, very well. We had a good time over there. And I was like, oh, he's from Brazil. I love this country. And yeah, I definitely wanted to get to know you more and better. And then, but it somehow went off for a while. And it was like, okay, 2 years we didn't hear from each other. And in 2020, I just wanted to catch up with you. I found you, I think, on Instagram, seeing that there was like shows going on and crypto
Yes.
panels, everything. And of course, I got my ears open. I was like, this guy is really, really smart. And yeah, I was like, maybe someday he has a good opportunity where I don't miss out and I take the risk right away. So he told me, yeah, we have something planned, something very, very huge will come up with a lot of partners. Maybe it's interesting for you to support the German-speaking countries or even Europe, especially. And yeah, just I think in June 2021, you told me about it the first time, and I was like, okay, Geraldo, what is it more? And he only showed me a picture, and the picture was literally just a shark. And I'm like, that looks nice. Let me be part of it. So yeah, that's how I came or how I became the community manager for the German-speaking countries. And yeah, from there on, I think the road went on. I always say, no risk, no champagne. I always take the risk for everything. And yeah, now I'm here. I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, this road will be insane. I think it's going to be massive, and the support behind it is just crazy.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. It's important, people, this kind of feedback because behind all projects like uShark, you have people behind working day by day for succeed. And for sure, we are proud to have, for example, in Brazil, one of the best guy which have a track record to be involved in unicorns and startups like Tiago that open all the doors of the Cuba environment for us. But the international guys behind it is important. You know about them. So next Bia, Bia is a Brazilian citizen. Even she looks like a Canadian citizen, as you can see. But it was a funny when I met Bia. I was in Canada. I was in Toronto. I think. I think 6, 7 weeks ago, we have some road show in some countries that we have some investors in our project, and I remember it was my last day in Canada. I was in the hotel, and our community manager in Canada, I said to him, please, I'm looking for more hubs to provide startups to our DeFi platform. And I know Canada is one of the best track records of the world. Please, I need you to help me to contact someone. Then the last day, he said, okay, I have some Brazilian entrepreneur that lived here in a long time, and maybe she will be able to help you. Then I go down to the lobby of the hotel just for breakfast. Almost with the break. And then I said, okay, let me talk with the girl. Then when I saw Bia, I saw, wow, it's a Canadian citizen. How can I explain her about the project? Then she said, oi, Geraldo, bom dia. Oh, wow, a Brazilian citizen. Bia, tell me a little bit more about you, your background, how you came to Canada, how can you support us? And it's important to know a little bit better about her background because Bia helped us to approach two of the best innovator, incubator, and accelerators in Canada. One of them, Latin Startups, and another of them called Accelerator Century. So, Bia, please share in this 4 or 5 minutes a little bit about you and your background. Why did you move to Canada? How are you involved in Latin Startups and Accelerator Century, please?
Perfect. Is this
Okay.
hello? Is it working? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Well, first of all, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. If anybody else wants to ask something in Portuguese, I can understand also. So, but well, I started my journey as I've been, I would say, basically a born entrepreneur. So, I mean, my dad worked 40 years in the same company, and I was always like, something is not right. I want to have my own business. I wanted to be able to change things in the speed that I thought was necessary. I wanted to be able to put the insights I had and the knowledge I acquired throughout the the days and the years, and to be able to change things in my pace. So the entrepreneurial journey for me started very early, I would say right after college. So the project that led me to Canada was actually an ed tech that we put together. After I became a mom, I shifted a little bit the segment that I was facing. So I started to focus more on ed techs because I wanted to do something for the educational system. Because knowing from Brazil, we still have a lot to develop towards education. So we started an educational company that helps to develop social emotional skills in children. We use technology to reach the families, but we try to focus on their bonding and the time one-on-one in the family. So when we were talking about where to accelerate, I went to Toronto and I had a in-person meeting with LATAM startups. And Miriam, which is the CEO, she fascinated me because she's from Colombia. And she has been doing an amazing job in the ecosystem in Canada. And the barriers she broke and everything that she's achieved, it was a very inspiring story for me. So when we talked, she said, we can accelerate in New York, but we can also accelerate in Toronto. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but 52% of the population of Toronto was not born in Toronto. So you have people from all over the world. And to test a product in Canada for us would be a major, you know, achievement because the probability of having success would be much bigger worldwide. So I started my journey with my team in Canada. I moved with my family, sold everything I had in Brazil, moved to Canada to start this journey, bet basically our whole life on it. And it's been very rewarding. So with that, the all of the journey that we've been through, we accelerated in LATAM startups. We accelerated also in AC, which is also our partner. Um, when we talk about, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Kitchener Waterloo hub. They call it the Canadian Silicon Valley. So AC is the #1 private accelerator in Canada. It's there. So we accelerated there. In the first year of the startup, we got 2 angel investments and 1 grant from the government because Canada has those things. So it's really nice. And I've been acting from the past 1.5 year also, yeah, probably 1.5, yeah, around that time, also as mentor for entrepreneurial universities, local universities and colleges, advising entrepreneurs in their own journey, and also advising startups from all over the world that want to go and, start their journey in Canada too. And when I came across Geraldo, I fell in love with the project. I'm like, I can help. I want to help. So how can we do that? And you guys know the results. So here we are.
Thank you, Bia. Thank you so much. It's funny how those things happens because it's not the support for example, because she's Brazilian citizen and should understand my desires to have support of international institutions because unfortunately in some way our company is international. In the second part of the talk show, you have the opportunity to listen to some words from Mr. Calegari, which is the chairman that approve our private equity investment fund in Security and Exchange Commission United States. And one of the things that we really liked when we were running the business, it was that people that really understand deeply venture capital, startups environment, etc., came to support us. We have 2 more people to talk a little bit in this first part of our talk show. Kiran, and also we have the online Gabriel Serpa, our advisor from Stanford. He will be with us by Zoom. So Enzo, you can share the link. But we'd like to talk a little bit about Kiran, this special guy. Let me just make a short introduction. In November 2021, I was in my second course in Harvard Business School. When I arrived in the campus, when I dropped off the Uber driver, I was lost. Then I saw this guy leaving the Uber as well. And I looked to him and said, hey, please, are you going to the Harvard Business School session about fintechs? And he said, yeah, you too? Yes, let's go together. Then we start a conversation like a friend. And the results, you will know how it happens. But Kiran, for sure, you can talk a little bit about the curiosity way that we met, but also about a little bit about your background, because in the second part of the conversation, people will know how those advisors we use their skills to help us to choose the best startups for investments. But before that, it's important people know a little bit about you and your background, because for sure it's a tough question, because you're going to be the head of the uShark Angels, people that will help us to choose what kind of startups we invest. So Kieran, it's up to you.
Thanks, Geraldo. I'm assuming all of you can hear me. Thank you. So I want to thank uShark founders and the entire team for having us here today. And big thanks to you for taking your time today, this evening, and spending time with us. Thank you, everyone, for being here and listening to us. Little bit about me. Um, Basically, my core competency is I'm a technologist. I worked for more than a decade in AT&T Labs. That's my core background. And now in last 7 years, I've been working in financial services. So my main background, around 20 plus years, I've been in corporate America. I went to school in US, and even though I was born and I grew up in India for education and work, I moved to US. I'm a proud Indian, and love everything about America, and I can relate a lot Indian heritage and culture with Brazilian heritage and culture. So Geraldo talked about how we met. What he didn't say was what happened next. So we ran into each other when we got out of Uber, and we walked down to the registration desk. So in Harvard, they take 4 to 5 students and they put them together in a cohort group where they stay together, and it's like a dorm, and you kind of become a roommate so that you can work, talk and share ideas, incubate, and things like that. We go register. It so happened we both were in the same group. So we had almost 5 days along with three others, one from Nigeria, one from California, and another one from South Africa. So all of us, we were talking about different kind of fintech ideas and things like that. He talked to us about uShark, how it started, how he met with Mr. Kalagari, and how they incubated it, and they've grown to where we are today. So when I heard that, there was no second thought for me because my background, along with being a technologist, I also help and work on merger integrations, post and pre-merger integrations when organizations buy companies. I help with reorganization and help out with integration of different companies. One of the things that biggest one that I even today talk about and love about is AT&T in US was bought by Southwestern Bell. If you Google, you can find out. Singular, AT&T Wireless, Bell South, it's all telephone companies that was all bought by one Texas company. And I was part of that group that integrated all this. And the integrated company became a $200 billion company. So that's about me. So very much looking forward to work with uShark team so that help them with everything I can in terms of my knowledge and experience.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you. People, we'll have the participation of Gabriel from Stanford. Enzo, just check for me if is that okay. It's important you all of you know that we'll have a break very soon. People will be able to lunch. Okay, we have Gabriel online. Gabriel, this is
Can you guys hear me?
yeah, Gabriel, we can hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Ah,
perfectly.
nice to meet you. People don't know that you was born, and we have a long-term friendship in a small city in Juiz de Fora, in Brazil. But the most important thing is to people know here in this room, Gabriel, because we have here Kiran, Bia, and Tin from Germany, Canada, United States, and people have the first contact with the people that will help us to choose startups to decide our investments. And this first part, Gabriel, we would like to hear from you. What's your vision about the venture capital environment nowadays, where we are facing this recession? What do you think about that, Gabriel? Can you share for us a little bit about you and about what you think about that?
Well, perfect. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Gabriel. I'm also from Brazil, and I also live in Canada, such as Bia. So let me speak a little bit about my background. I'm nowadays director of innovation of a big education company in Brazil, but I actually work abroad, where I actually lead some projects. And that's actually a very nice question that you asked, Geraldo, because uh, nowadays we are seeing, let's say, many layoffs in Brazil and abroad. Some companies cutting 20 or 30% of its employees. And there are many factors that explain that. For example, the high interest rates, inflation, and geopolitical factors. Uh, some startups has actually that were planning to IPO in 2022. Hey, they're, let's say, holding off their plans. But you know, I like to quote Einstein that in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunities. So that's what I truly believe. We recently a big company in Brazil that is the maybe the largest hardwood pulp producer. They announced that they're going to invest $80 billion in climate tech, bio-based products, agroforest, and sustainable packing startups. So let's say the money is still there, but we are, let's say, selecting more the areas and the opportunities that we are gonna seek and invest. So I believe that, let's say, we are in an environment that is at the same time dangerous, but also fertile to opportunities. So I truly believe that nowadays, with initiatives like uShark, we can, let's say, explore new opportunities and make accessible investment to everyone. So that's a little bit what I think about nowadays moment.
Yes, Gabriel, thank you. Thank you for your time. Gabriel is also one of our advisors. It's important in the second part of our talk show, you all will understand that what's the reason that we choose people from different places of the world because we would like to avoid the wishful think. It's one of the best, the principal error when some head of investment fund decide to invest in startups. So we have a boarding for people from many different countries to supporting us and helping us to take the right decision before make the investments. It's important, people, when after the break, you all will be able to have some drink, to eat some snacks. When we return, we'll talk to you about good news, because now we are talking only about crisis. We are in the recession. You, for sure, many of you never heard about the right way to have the opportunity to invest in a good cryptocurrency. And many of you never try to do that because it's a risk. And many of you never invest in a startup as well. And when many of you tried the first time, it was in new bank, as Thiago said, and probably it was not a very good experience and things like that. After the break, we'll talk about good news. So it's important all of you stay to the second part of our talk show and the second part of our panel, because 2 points. We'll have online Mr. Abdallah Haveh. He recorded a video for us. He's one of our partner founders. He helped us to get the license to issue the token from Dubai. We have also people from Israel who will be talking with us, and people from London. And in the second part of our talk show, we'll talk about good news. And you will listen from Kieran, Bia, and team what's going to be their principal pillars that they will choose to analyze and decide what kind of startup they will approve to receive the investments or not. So it's going to be a very important conversation in the second part of the panel. And also, all those people who keep up to the end, we'll make some offers, we'll give you some gifts in tokens. And also, we will open some time to you to request some questions, simple question, even in the startups environment or in crypto environment, okay? I need just to be sure with Enzo if we are on time, because our break would be 8:30, so we are on time. So the point is, we'll have a break when you have some things to drink, to eat some snacks, and you'll be back in 15 minutes for the second part of our talk show. So our panel, it's going to be the best part. We'll talk about opportunity and how you can engage and help us in this movement. We didn't create a project or a company. We create a movement, and we truly believe that we can help all of you step in startups environment and crypto environment, okay? So guys, thank you for your time for this moment. Let's go out to have this break for 15 minutes, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Boa noite, boa noite, boa noite. Quem gosta de ouvir um pouquinho de português, dá uma descansada. Estamos aqui no Brasil só no inglês, hein? Show. A gente fez essa pausa para, né, poder ter um pouquinho de network, ter esse momento para as pessoas se conhecerem. E agora a gente queria caminhar para a parte principal, para a parte final. Então queria pedir que todo mundo, né, se pudesse aí, desliga os telefones, coloca no vibra. Presta atenção agora que a gente vai fazer, né, um bate-papo que é justamente o motivo pelo qual vocês vieram. Então, vamos retomar o inglês. Quem está sem fone aí, programa o cérebro. Quem está de fone, se prepara que vem mais uma sequencinha. E eu vou chamar o nosso anfitrião aqui, um cara que eu conheci recentemente, mas faz um trabalho muito legal dentro desse universo de startups. Gostei muito da palestra. Apesar de já estudar um pouco, é muito legal o jeito que você apresenta de forma didática. Até alguns amigos ali elogiaram.
Thank you.
Então, queria pedir uma salva de palmas. Thiago Leite.
Thank you and welcome back. Geraldo, please come here. Let's start our second part.
Yes, of course. Okay. Thank you. Uh, okay, guys. Let's go to the second part of our panel. Let's have a seat, Tiago. Enzo, please just let me know through our internal point, which means our iPhone, if the people from Israel and London, if are they ready. But people, I know that you are all watching the journal, TV news, all things about the recession we are facing. Some people are not sure it's going to be a recession or a depression. But the point is, smart people use those moments like opportunity, because if you think, for example, all the time when the market, I'm not talking only about the traditional financial market, but also in the crypto space, when the market is a little in bear market with a slang, when the things is not running so good, a lot of smart investors, they look this moment like a huge opportunity to make money. Warren Buffett, he has a lot of famous phrases. One of them, he said, during those time of bear market, the money runs from the impatient people to the patient people. So we need to decide what kind of people are you in this picture, in this framework, because in our business model, our main pillar is to bring the democratization. Because when I request my COO to give me the numbers before the event, we have nowadays almost 12,000 investors, and 30% of them came from German. I think Sandwich will come again a little bit late to explain how it works. But the point is, why those people saw the opportunity in uShark platform during the bear market. So, but before we go to this part, Enzo, I need you to confirm to me that London or Israel it's going to be first, please. Okay. Okay. So, following introducing you the uShark angels, the people that will support us, as you already know about Bia from Canada, Kira United States, Tim Sennett from German. We saw Gabrielle, which is in Canada but came from Stanford. It's also a Brazilian one. Now, I will introduce you a guy called Bruno Tonheta from London. Please let me be sure that Bruno hear me well. Enzo, please let me know if he's online and listen to me.
Yes.
Bruno, welcome to our uShark crypto panel.
My pleasure.
Bruno,
Nice to meet
please.
you.
Yeah, the tough question here, Bruno, is to share the people who are the advisors who are supporting our project, and they have the challenge to help us to analyze and decide what kind of startups will workflow and make our investments. For sure, we have a decentralized platform and also a DAO concept. Many people don't know what DAO means, decentralized and autonomous organization. But before startups receive investment, they need to be approved by you, Bia, Tim, Kieran, and many others uShark angels. So, Bruno, we know that you studied something in Oxford, but people would like to know about your vision for this moment of the market. You have 5 minutes to share a little bit about your vision for this moment when the market is going so down and people are afraid about what's coming next. So, Bruno, it's up to you, friend.
Thank you. First of all, good evening for everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you. Uh, my background is marketing since 2004. And after that, I studied cinema 3D in San Diego, California. And I have one specialization in artificial intelligence in Oxford University. My base is in London today. And every week, every week I evaluate as one startup. And I have one advertising agency and film production here in London. And the marketing is so crazy. If you check 20 years ago, everything changed. And today, all month, we have everything different. So when we stop to talk about the startups and when we stop to check the business model, we have to understand one specific things where we need to analyze a little of our past. We have to understand our past. If we check our past, we will see each 7 years we have one strong crisis in the world wild. This is what's happened, and then more than 100 years. So the startup is very important to be one great idea. And in the center of the point of this business for me is the persons, the guys. Who is this guys? Because this is very, very important. They need money for what? This idea is for good or can become bad, something bad. So and there's one we understand everything. We can choose the right investors and we can choose a great idea. So this is my moment. And today, nobody are looking for a new unicorn, in my opinion. Like Thiago Leite told us before, we are looking for the next camel because uh, in times of crisis, camel startups are type not needing a constant investment. They can survive more for more long, like for example, Zoom. We are talking here from Zoom, and they are one specific and one strong example about a camel startup.
Yes, Bruno, thank you for your participating, for sure, because as Tiago explained to us in his presentation, his performance, uh, people were making a lot of noise about unicorn startups, and this and that. But to say the truth, why really is the main vision of a unicorn startup? You know, so this is the point that uh, the VC around the world reset. That's the tough question. Then Tiago explained very successful the case of Nubank in Brazil because it's facing to all of us, a lifetime, daily, and you can check about how it works. And for sure, we have also one of the most special guests that we could have in our event because in all the countries of the world, we have the best track record in a country that it's smaller than many states in Brazil called Israel. And there is a secret behind Israel. And I was talking with Tiago when Tiago accepted to be advisor and help us to run the business and analyzing the right way the KPIs of startups deeply. Tiago said, yes, Geraldo, but we have to really understand things besides the previous information that we receive. And in Israel, it's proved to all over the world that they have the best track records to create unicorns. So Enzo, please, through our point, which means our iPhone, let me know if Shai Hood, our guy from Israel, if he's here online, because people, this is the best information that you receive tonight, because there is a lot of secret in the atmosphere behind and around Israel. Why Israel, so small country, so a new country? Why they provide a lot of startups, unicorns, real unicorns? And Shai Hood will explain to us what's the secret behind Israel? And please, Shaihood, let me know if do you hear me well. I know that you are married with a Brazilian woman, so you speak a little bit Portuguese, but but all the people they are listening you by simultaneous translation, so you can talk in English. What's the secret, Shaihood, behind success of Israel as a startup nation? You have 15 minutes for that.
Please, if you can just open for me the ability to share my screen, that will be great because I have a nice presentation for you as well.
Okay, Enzo, please.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think it's a wonderful opportunity um, to take part in something which is global. And this is exactly what technology is all about.
Okay, Shai, you
All
are the
right.
host now.
Yes,
You can share screen.
excellent. All right. So I think that I will take from where Bruno stopped because everything is changing and technology is everywhere. So imagine that in 1971, the first email in the world was ever sent. And in 2020, 300 billion emails are being sent and received every day. And by the way, 85% of them are spam. 6.6 billion people around the world are holding smartphone in their hands. This is more than the people who are owning toothbrushes. Millennials are reporting a decrease of 40% of their sexual activity. Why? Because what's the point of having sex if I cannot upload a photo to Instagram, right? So as I mentioned, technology is everywhere. And we in IR Gento, we are fascinated and interested with technology and definitely with the two road streets of technology and humans. So we make and form and shape technology, and technology is also shaping us. And this is the reason why we believe everybody should also have an interesting investment in technology and specifically in Israeli technology. So to the question, why Israeli technology? Let's detail. So it's a combination of two main things. One, Israel is a very strong economy, and the second one is that we are a startup nation. So if I'm looking at the information and the data, you would see that around 500,000 people in Israel, which is a small country, 9 million people, are working in the tech sector. It's a government policy to increase that number from 11%, by the way, to 15. And this is more than what we had 30 and 20 years ago. On the other side, innovation. So I think that innovation started long ago when Moses downloaded data from the cloud into his tablet, but that's a joke. But if you will ask all the great leaders of the world, what do they think about Israel? If it's Bill Gates or Enzo, you mentioned Warren Buffett, everybody is stating that there is something unique in Israel. And this is also where the Bloomberg Index of Innovation states that Israel is number 7 worldwide when it's coming to the taking part in innovation, and we are tackling giants like South Korea, Sweden, and Switzerland. And they did also an interesting survey by Deloitte, and they asked VC managers, where do you feel the most comfortable to invest in technology? And the second country after the United States was Israel. So again, why? Why? Because we are giving a regulatory supportive system for all the investors so they can feel very much secure when they're doing the investment. And this is the reason why in last year alone, almost $26 billion have been invested in Israeli startups with more than 780 deals. 73% of that money, by the way, came from outside of Israel. So people are feeling very secure to do those investments. And hence the results. So every 2 weeks in an average, an international company is opening up an R&D center, a shop, an office here. And that's also solved for, in 2021, almost $24 billion of exits with about 250 deals. And of course, if we are talking about exits, we cannot avoid speaking about the biggest exit of them all, the story of Mobileye. So, and here is where I'm going to talk about what is happening here. how come that Israel can manufacture such anti-collision systems that later on became the autonomous car facility for the entire world. So everybody now are coming to Israel, specifically to Jerusalem, to see it. Because what you see now on the screen is actually a technology that came all the way from the military. Our entire anti-defensive missile system is based on electro-optic means. So this is one of the main reasons why we have such a flow of interesting technology. It's also another reason why I'm mentioning Mobileye, because my great partner Iftach, back in August 1999, managed the first, later on the second financial round of the company. Back in 2014 was the IPO, and in 2017, and actually we were in Brazil doing a roadshow to one of our companies, Mobileye was purchased by Intel for $15.3 billion, becoming the biggest exit in the world. But when you dive into the numbers are telling a little bit of a different story. So between 1999 and 2020, almost 15,000 startups were established, but around 300 of them got to become big companies, unicorns. So it's only 2% chance of succeeding, and this is exactly our goal. And if we dive even into the statistic, we would see that 40% of the Israeli startups will be shut down at the stage of POC, proof of concept. The lucky one that will move to the next phase, pilot stage, they will additional 40% of them will also be failing. And if the lucky startup have moved to the next phase, which is sales, less than 20% risk to be failing, and in growth stage, representing $10 million of annual sales, you have less than 1% to be failing. This is the Israeli statistics. A bit about us, so you will know who is giving the speech here. So iOrgano Group was founded in 1995. We are defined as a multifamily office. We're specializing in the alternative realm. We have a very unique and professional management team, which is located in Israel and outside, also in South America. And let's talk a little bit about also how do we do the investment itself, and later on I will talk with you about the criteria. So we said that 40% of the Israeli startups are shutting down at the POC stage. This is why we will never invest in it. In the pilot stage, this is where we will enter with our private angels who wish to participate in specific investments. And for the later on successful projects who are moving to the next stage, the sales stage, this is where we will support them with an interesting traded fund that was launched here in Israel a year ago. And of course, our main mission is to push them into the growth stage. So let's talk about the screening process. How do we choose to work with a company? And it's actually starting with an interesting paradox. I call it the lion-zebra paradox, because when we see a good project, a good startup, we would like to be the lion, to put our hands first on that project. But at the same time, I just now told you that only 2% are succeeding. So we need to develop all the alarm and alert system of a zebra. And only a good investor that can balance between those two can really succeed. So we dived in also into an interesting statistics of what are the reasons for an Israeli startup to shut down. And we discovered that 42% of the Israeli startups are shutting down because of the lack of a market. 29% of them will be shut down because of the lack of finance. Nobody wants to invest in them, for example. 17% of them are using the wrong, or they don't even have a business model. And 12% is a combination of other reasons. For example, competition. So competition is less than 12% of a reason why an Israeli startup will be shut down. In iOrgano, we are encouraging competition because it's meaning that you're working in a good field. So we took the knowledge, the statistics, and we formed this list. And I think it's a worldwide list, but aimed specifically to Israeli startups. So the first thing that we are looking for is that startup will have a real existing market, one which is big enough and willing to pay for the product or the service of the company. The startup itself should solve a real, genuine problem, an existing problem, not something futuristic. The solution should be based on innovative technology, one that will be very hard to copy, but in addition, this technology should be used as a platform for future application. Argento will never invest in a single product company. As I told you, we will only invest after a successful POC, and by that we have reduced by 40% the risk to be failing. And in all of our projects, all the teams are quite knowledgeable when it's coming to the technology side, but we are also looking for leadership skills. Do they have what it takes to make it to the goals that we as board members in their board of directors are putting to them? I spoke a bit about business model, but we have two main criteria. One, we are searching for a gross profit that will move between 60 to 70%, and that the go-to-market strategy will be somewhere between B2B, business to business, or B2G, business to government. Always when we have backwind of regulation, it's great, and I will give you an example. In 2014, if you wanted to receive the fifth security star for a car manufacturer, you needed to install an anti-collision system. And this is where Mobileye broke through. Additional company from our portfolio in the same year, 2014, the health minister in Israel is calling for online monitoring of chlorine in the water for all the water utilities. A day later, they call Ayeka, one of our companies. I will talk about it in a couple of minutes. And of course, at the end, if we don't see eye to eye with the entrepreneurs moving forward, we will just not invest. This is our core principles. Of course, we have more, and there is quite of a road, so we need also to be patient when we are investing in a startup. The POC stage takes between 2 to 3 years. Pilot stage takes between 1 to 2 years, and I remind you, this is where we will enter with our private angels. Sales stage takes between 3 to 4 additional years. This is where we can support them with our traded funds. And if you really want to make a $100 million annual sale company, you need to give it time. So I'm coming back to what Bruno mentioned about the camels. We need them to become camels at the end. I will go briefly on two projects that we had in the past. Here you can see a bunch of projects. We have experience in medical arena devices, cellular field. In recent years, we've been focused more on what you would call an ESG type of investment. And we'll give example for two. So this is called Ayeka technology. Ayeka works in the IIoT field, Industrial Internet of Things. And again, where did the technology came from? It came from the Army. Ayeka invented a unique industrial controller. You can see it on the left side of the screen. It can be connected to different types of sensors. And now think about what we need to do behind enemy lines. If we need to listen to our enemy, I cannot just come back and forth and change the battery because the system is not working, right? So we need to build from the beginning a robust system. So this unique industrial controller, fully cyber secured, can stay in the field between 5 to 10 years, depending on the communication system. And imagine that it's got an international smartphone. And what does it do? So on the right side of the screen, you can see a video footage from a pit hole in Cincinnati. When the rain comes down, all the garbage come out, infiltrating the water system, polluting the river, and the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, used to issue fines on the municipality of Cincinnati. And they had two options, either to rebuild their entire infrastructure or, and this is what they have done, launch 1,300 units of Ayeka. And now, when a drop of rain, and due to climate change, those are floods, the water engineer in the municipality can understand from the beginning which dam to open, which pump need to be activated in order to avoid floods. And as I told you, we love to invest in platforms. So you can see that this is the same industrial controller, but in different types of application. And just to make a quick note about the development of the country, of the company inside the country, so you can see the jump of the valuation. It takes time, but when we are behind it, things are working well. Another interesting example is Wi-Fi technology, which manage the smart city. We are starting by focusing on a vertical called parking, estacionamento. I know it's in Portuguese. So everybody is parking in the municipality, but apparently nobody pays. Less than 50% of the people who park are actually paying. And now you can see how the unique algorithm of the image processing that Wi-Fi developed can see the arena. And again, it's coming from a military type of technology, unarmed flying vehicles, satellites, and etc., that understand what is happening around them. And as you can see, we can identify all the objects as car, understand who parked when, and when a car is entering into a predefined parking area, we can start charging it. An automatic timer is being activated. Once the car is pulling out, the timer can be shut down. And of course, with such a unique system, we can start to control also movement and so forth. And of course, I told you we like platforms. So they ask us to apply this unique algorithm on airfields, and we can see that through electro-optical systems with image processing, we can see and manage the smart city. And again, the roadmap of YSight was very interesting for us, and you can see the development in valuation over time. Just to finish, you could see here how the evaluation and the development of each and every company have done over the years. You can see the growth of valuation when we started, what was the fair price, what were the results and the annual compound results as well. But again, it takes time. Don't put all the eggs in one basket. Try to do diversification, and just like Enzo mentioned, interesting time that we are in, and there are very interesting opportunities. So if anybody has questions, I'll be more than happy to share more interesting thoughts.
Shai, thank you so much for your sharing. People are clapping their hands to you. I really appreciate and would like to say just two points to people understand what's going on. In July 20, I will be in Israel with our chairman of the investment fund, Mr. Calegari, who will talk to you very soon. We will go to Israel to find the first portfolio of startups that we have in our pipeline to make investments, but for one reason, because we have the partnership with one Jews advisor here in Brazil, with a famous guy called Rabino Ravissani. So thank you, Shai, one more time. Thank you so much.
With pleasure.
Appreciate and hope to.
Fim de semana.
Obrigado. Hope to see you soon in Tel Aviv. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you. So, people, it's important. This thing you need to understand how important is that we have access through our network to make investment in Israel startups in the stage seed, just because of this partnership, because it's a kind of prerogative just for Jewish investors. So it's another thing that only uShark platform have nowadays to do. So we will have now the second part of our talk show. It's going to be almost the last part of our panel today. But before that, before I invite Kiran, Tina, and Bia again, I would like to make some important things that we would like to know. For sure, we are looking for good projects in Brazil to be our partners. And we have here in this auditorium one of the best startups of NFTs that we have in Brazil, PB Arts. We have here Pipa, his girlfriend, wife. I always change your name with the other guy. Rafa, because I always change his name with the other guy, and his girlfriend. Please stand up, please. Let me people know you. People, these guys has a very nice startup of NFT called PB Arts. They are very successful in Ribeirão Preto. They provide all the toys to Big Brother Brazil, the most famous reality show in analogic TV in Brazil. So thank you guys. And people, it's important you know we are their partners and we'll help them and we're working together to grow the business in both sides. We'll have metaverse application with them and they create the most hard part of the project, which they create the real art. You know, thank you. Thank you, Pipa and Rafa, and both ladies to come. You're welcome in this event. And now, please, Team Sandwich for German, Kiran from Harvard Business School, and Bia from Accelerator Center in Latin Startup in Canada. Welcome to the stage again. And we'll have our second part of this talk show. Please, Enzo, I need to know the time that we have because the time will belongs to them this time. And now we are going to talk about good news. And as you already know about them, you know what's going to be their main things that they will analyze before they approve some startups for investments. And okay, you need to change the mic. Yeah, okay. Okay. You have one? Okay. Yeah, that's good. 20 minutes. I would like to start with, I will split this way. Tim will talk about um, the thing that he really think that it's important before decide what startup can be approved to receive the investments, and also Bia and Kiron according to their knowledge and the relation that they have, for example, in the case of Bia with Latin Startup and Accelerate Center. But Tim, let's start with you.
Again.
Very quick, what's the thing that you really think it's important before you decide to approve some startup to receive investment?
Definitely the people behind it in my eyes is really important, and it needs to be a solution for something. I mean, I have a startup myself, and unfortunately, Corona was a bit in our way. So 2023, we start again all over. But I think you need a solution behind it. And for us, there was a solution of our company is called One Way Back, just to have a small insight of it. It's a bag we founded made of 100% out of carton, which will be for the travel industry behind every or below every bed in the hotel. So if people have too much luggage, they don't need to buy a expensive suitcase. They just put it out, put it together within 1 minute, and then they can travel. But unfortunately, when we founded it, or rather my friends in Switzerland, it's 100% Swiss made. It was COVID, every hotel needed to shut down, so we kind of stopped it before, and then 2023 we'll restart it for sure. So I think it solves a problem, definitely, because I have a lot of times traveling with my girlfriend and she buys some stuff and we cannot bring it back home instead of just like plastic bags or something. So yeah, that's definitely something.
Yeah, actually, before the startups was born, and mostly time the founder can see some problem. In the case of uShark, I was working a reality show and I saw a lot of startups, good startups with some difficulty to fundraise money. Then the reason that we created Shark is like that. But the time is now; it's up to you guys. And just an important point. Uh, in our case, for sure, we're looking for international startups, but uh, there's a specific point of view of each one we will put together as a kind of cross-checking info to help us to make the right decision. And one important thing, we have a kind of artificial intelligence software that we will cross-check the how is the uh, daily actions that some founders of a startup that became unicorn or succeed startups, what they do in their lifetime as a kind of their workflow. So it's going to be important because we will cross those information and for sure put together with the insights of the 12 advisors. Bia, now it's up to you. What's going to be the most important thing that you analyze before you approve startups to receive our investments?
Well, I would have to reiterate what Tim said. I think the people behind it makes a lot of difference because I like to say that tough times they pass, but tough people they stick. So when you have tough people behind the business, it makes a lot of difference. And of course, the product, the or service that is behind, it's very, I would say, a very strong factor too. So.
And Kiran, as people didn't see the material that we record in the campus of Harvard, I know your answer, but people don't know. So it's up to you.
Thanks, Gerardo. So uh, what I'm going to talk is probably it's a repeat. Some of it you saw when we started the session. We heard how 80% of the companies don't make it to the next stage. We saw how the startups after the early stage with an angel investor or a seed funding will go to the first round, second round, third round, and then they exit or become a unicorn, do a initial public offering. We heard that, and we also heard Shai talk about tenure, right? What I mean by tenure is you should build something. When you get started, yes, it's going to start, but based off of the market needs, your customer base, and where you're serving, that market needs may change, so you need to pivot. That means you need to change what you're building and be there to sell your product, right? And then we saw Shai talk about over a period of time, if it has to become a 100 million plus company, it takes anywhere between 10 plus years, like 16, 15 years. So looking at all those, I have everything in three things, right? If you are a startup and you're looking for angel or angel investment or a seed capital, it all falls down to three things, right? What problem you're solving. When it comes to what problem you're solving, talks about you. Basically, tenacity. We heard about camel, right? What does camel do? In the desert, it drinks water for many days. It can walk across, and it doesn't need anything again. That's where tenacity comes in, right? You may have challenges. We saw about three F's, right? Family, fools, finance, and everything. You may not have it. So you may be solving a problem for the community, for the society, coming up with a product, but you'll also go through a lot of challenges, your own, right? That's where tenacity, how resilient you are. So that's the people part, um, even though you're problem solving a problem. So that's the first one. So what is your uh, product or whatever you're trying to do, your idea, what is it trying to solve? What's the differentiator? There may be a substitute in the market, or there may be an alternate, right? We go buy in a store Cadbury's chocolate, or you can find different kinds of chocolate, but how is yours different? If you want to enter the market, if you already have some idea, you get started, and by the time you develop, there may be something already in the market. So what's your differentiator? So that goes with the first one. What's the idea? Second is your partners, right? Your partners means it could be your investors, it could be your shareholders, stakeholders, it could be the market you're serving. So it could be in Brazil, or are you planning to go global? How are you thinking long term? So that's the second one. Third one is all around people, your team, basically your team. If you have an idea, if you have a dream, if you have a vision, are they aligned? You have friends who want to help you. You have 10 people who you hire. They are working with you. But is everyone going in the same direction? We saw the last statement, we saw love is not looking at each other, it's walking together, right? So that's the third thing. So how are you hiring? Who are you working with? And are they aligned with your vision, your dream? And do they share the same thing? How do you handle it? So those are the three things.
Yes, it's very important, and we can see doesn't matter what kind of advisor I make this question, all of them say, who is the people behind? Because for sure, if you have, in my opinion, if you have a very good idea with a not so good team, you have a long journey and a horrible journey. But if you have a good team, without a good project, even can succeed. But when you can put together a disruptive idea, a scalable thing, then you really solve a problem with a good team. It's I'm suspicious to talk about uShark, but if you look inside uShark, we have I cannot be. It's so strange to say this, but for sure, we have a very solid team. When people don't know, but we have a lot of genius behind us. We have a Japanese guy just with 21 years called Enzo Nakazi. He's a very smart guy that create a market engagement that we grow the business in 57 countries. Then we have a technology team that's they are really smart. During our process, for example, I remember one day we launched a campaign in German, and we fundraise in our crowdfund platform more than $1.2 million in 24 hours with more than 20 hackers attacks. No one succeed. So we have a good team behind. And also, when Mr. Calegari and his law team created an infrastructure, and people could see, wow, how do you approve this business model with a private equity investment fund in the United States and Securities and Exchange Commission? It means that we have a good team. I remember when I was with Kieran, I said, oh, thank you, God. Someone in my Harvard course understand about blockchain disruption. And I got the luck to have those people with this quality. Not only be a Kieran and team that are here together us, but also the people that came online, all of them supporting our project. It's the reason that we are a project. I remember one of my mentors in US, they said, Geraldo, this kind of business, you know how you start, but you know how you can finish because you are really a benchmark. This main idea to give the people the opportunity to invest in startups and crypto in the early stage, it never happens. It never happens, this kind of business together. So we have, when I listen your answer, I can see, wow, it's uShark. It's really uShark. And then for sure, it's a little, as I told you, I'm suspicious to say that because I'm the founder, but that's the truth. And we're working as a team. And you can see all the time we're working as a team. And one more thing people would like to know from you. Uh, and and let's just suppose that, for example, um, when you analyze some startup to make investments, how can you avoid one of the huge mistakes before decision to make investments? A thing called wishful think. For example, if you are an smart and you are an expert in health tech, how can you remove that inside you to analyze, for example, a fintech? How can you manage that? That's a good question to people know. Yes, if you are a health tech, but a specialist, but sometimes you can see in the pipeline of uShark platform, for example, NFT startups. How can you, just with this former things that you mentioned, okay, the people behind and this and that, can you talk a little bit about that because we have more time? And for sure, you three are our special guests today.
Well, talking about removing the wishful thinking and associating with what uShark is doing, and I think it's amazing. Not only providing the seed money for startups, which I know and I've lived through it. It's hard to get, and it's the phase that you need a lot of support. You know, financially, emotionally, everything. So what I think the brilliance of it is the system that they're doing. That how to vote, you have to meet the criterias, and the actual investors are going to be voting on that. So it's not based on how much you're investing, but you just because you're an investor, you are entitled for that vote. So I think that's a very wise thing that uShark is creating, and a very smart way of um, putting the criterias, I guess, and the investors being able to see beyond, see and vote for their startups. I think it's a very clever um, way of conducting the business for the investing. So,
Thank you, Bia.
perspective.
Kieran?
It's a loaded question because I think it's more around your values, right? Yeah, how much close is the idea to you, and how committed you are to it. That means you'll have a lot of um, headwinds or a lot of challenges. Like, for example, you go to a car dealership and you want to buy a car, but you come out with a totally different car. You probably would have bought something else with extras, right? But is that what you are? If you get more influenced from the three things that I talked about, right? You have an idea, but is it too flexible? If you have partners, if they don't want to buy your product, then are you able to pivot and meet their needs? Third one, uh, Mr. Kalagari is holding everyone in uShark very strongly as a chairman, right? So same thing, you got to bring everyone together in your team, who you have as a team, building your vision, giving it life. So that's where it all comes down to.
Thank you, Kiran. Guys, I would like you to have a clap your hands for those special guests that we have today. For sure, they will help us. For sure, they will help us to find the right decision to find the best startups possible to our investments because it's the main reason of the success of our token or a metaverse token. So Kiran, B, and team, thank you one more time. I would like to ask you to take your seat, and we'll go
Thank
to
you,
the
thank you.
last part of our panel. Before I invite Mr. Calegari and my founder partner Enzo Nakase, I would like to make something with you. Vou falar em português. You can cut in English just for 2 minutes. Só para a gente fazer uma brincadeira, pessoal, para a gente espantar agora o sono, que vão ser os últimos 15 minutos. E aí eu vou trazer o Calegari e o Enzo aqui, para junto com o Thiago a gente fazer o bate-bola final. Vamos ficar de pé, pessoal? Que é uma brincadeira rapidinho, que eles vão cortar esse período, que aí eu já trago o Calega e a gente faz a parte final. Que é só para espantar o sono mesmo, porque a gente vai ter a parte com o Calegari e as perguntas e respostas, para a gente conseguir terminar às 10 on time. A brincadeira é o seguinte, sem pensar, obviamente, em contexto religioso nenhum, só para espantar o sono o amor do Criador é grande, aí todo mundo levanta a mão. Quem não levantar daqui, eu vou ver, que é porque não tomou banho para vir, vai ficar feio pra chuchu. Então, levanta a mão o máximo que puder. O Fred já está rindo lá, porque ele sabe dessa de longa data, né? E aí, nas perguntas e respostas, o Fred, que também é sócio fundador, vai vir me ajudar para a gente tirar as dúvidas de vocês. O amor de Deus é tão grande que dá vontade de chegar lá em cima para dar um abraço no Criador. Cuidado para não dar um knockdown no amigo do lado. Aí abre o braço assim, ó, que aí vai ajudar a espantar o sono. Aí a gente chega lá no Criador, cada um chama de um jeito, Buda, Jesus, Pai, Deus. Aí vai lá, dá um abraço no Criador. Aí depois que dá um abraço no Criador, a gente pega e volta para a Terra, que tem muita coisa para fazer ainda, tem muita gente para ajudar. Cuidado para não instalar a coluna aí. E aí a gente bate palma o mais rápido que puder, que aí circula o sangue e o sono zera. Pronto, agora todo mundo aguenta mais 2 horas de painel. Vamos então, pessoal, vamos sentar. Tenho que voltar em inglês, porque a gente está criando esse conteúdo todo para a nossa comunidade de fora do Brasil. Antes de voltar à gravação, pessoal, só para vocês saberem, 95% da nossa carteira de investidores hoje são de investidores estrangeiros. Então, por isso, a necessidade desse conteúdo ser todo em inglês. Okay, let's return. I would like to come invite on the stage our two founder partner, Mr. Calegari, is the chairman of our investment fund. Enzo Nakase, our genius, founder partner. Nas perguntas e respostas. Aí fala em português. Okay, Calegari, take a seat. Thiago, take a seat. I would like also to invite Fred Aleixo. He will not talk to you in English because you answer the question in Portuguese. But come on with us on the stage. Fred is also the founder partners. And now we'll talk with Mr. Calegari.
Hello,
All
good evening.
people are waiting for you.
For everyone.
Yeah. Calegari, first point I would like to people know from you. Why you, as a succeed entrepreneur, head of an investment fund in the United States, what did you see in uShark project to come on with us? That's the first question.
Perfect. Very good question. Geraldo, the project is very attractive for me. I'm involved with a lot of projects around the world a long time. And I'm like the crypto and the different, if you compare the uShark with the other cryptos, you can see a platform decentralized with the crowdfunding together and the democratic platform. These 3 points for me are important and make me totally involved with the project since I met the project, you know. And this is the point I think is a very good combination and a success point.
Yeah, just so you understand, people, how important Calegari is for the business, because I remember when I returned in my course from Harvard Business School, I saw a lot of points that it was red flags and we need to solve, even the infrastructure. And only the founders of the startup knows about that. But I remember first time we met Calegari, he said, wow, it's a good business. How much is the price of X% of the company? I wanted to buy. I said, no, we don't need money. We need the smart money. And Calegari really brings the smart money. Not only the money that he invested in the company, but his time as chairman, because we, in the case me, Enzo, Tiago, Freddy, and Luis, that also our founder partner is helping in the backstage, we didn't have the experience to manage a huge investment fund. So when Calegari accepted to come to the business, and we said, okay, we don't need your money, and even he invested money, but we need your time and your experience to manage this private equity investment fund. And this it was the most important thing that he brings to the business, not only his money, but his experience to manage the investment fund. And the second question that people want to hear from you.
Go ahead.
Uh, for sure, the same question that Kiran, Bia, and Tin said to the people before decide make the investment in startups, Caligari. What do you look that's really important before you decide to sign and okay, startup, you'll be able to receive all investment?
Yes, second very good question too. Today, the market is totally different than the yesterday. Everything's changed very fast when you talk about investments in technology companies. Today, the most important things to do is to focus in EGS companies because these are kind of the companies the world look at, you know. And in the short future, we believe the companies needs to have cross checks and the combination with the EGS companies to be a successful and still like a camel, still alive in the market. Because every day the people think better before consumption, think before to buy the products is gonna damage the planet and is not sustainable products, and this is a kind of the companies we're looking for. And the first of all, I think now we everybody know I just will give you a little spoil. We're looking for the first company to invest is a big data company
Yes.
because uh, behind the all of companies you gotta buy, we need a BI, we need a big data
Exactly.
to boost the companies we gotta buy. And now our focus, our goals, this is the point for our goals. And the big data is gonna be the best one to acquisition right now.
Yes, very good question. And for sure, people uh, when they see our main idea and the thesis of our investment fund, they will see our manifesto and they will see that we decide to focus in 5 areas. You decide that. And blockchain for sure because we are a crypto company. Also, fintechs, health tech, big data, and food tech plant based. And big data, the first option, for sure, all of us, we agree that's the right decision because with big data, we can boost, as you said,
Exactly.
all other startups, you know? And Calegari, the last question for you, because I know it's
You
very
are
hard,
welcome.
people, very hard to have Calegari here to talk to you because I'm Gerald, I'm a little bit shame. I don't like to talk in public. It was hard to have him in our Forbes announcement. But I said, please, Calega, come on, Calego. And he said, okay, I'll be there. The last question for you. Um, when you look the manifesto of the investment fund, you said, okay, I will be a chairman for long term. How do you see this moment now, the of the crisis of the in startups environment and crypto environments? Is that a problem or an opportunity? For the last question.
Okay, in my experience, all the companies I made more money was in the bad marketing and the bad moment in the market. And now the bear market I see is a very good opportunity because the stock market is down, the crypto is down, and it's a good time to swap your wallet if you have a wallet, if you have a BTC or if you have Ethereum, you can change and swap your wallet and make investments in the other successful deafs like us, like a uShark. You know, I think is the best moment to move on. And remember, the good captains was made in the bad oceans and the shake oceans, and now we have a shakedown.
Yeah.
It's the time to think better and to prepare for the blue ocean again,
Yes.
because the the storms is like a short time, like the suns is the main is the short time too. You have not too sun, not too storm. Sometimes you have to think better.
Okay, that's good. So, Enzo Nakazi, our genius. Look, guys, this guy, 21 years old.
22.
When I was 21 years old, I don't remember what I was doing. I really don't remember.
Neither do I.
Yeah, this genius create a marketing strategy that business and grow in 57 countries. And so we have a couple minutes, and I would like you to share the people the future vision of the Sharkium verse, because a lot of people talking about metaverse, the future of our technology application. And what this I'm addressing this question to Enzo, because when we take a look in our data, the people that we have as our clients and investors, we can see a lot of young people. When I see the QIC, people from 19 years old from a small city in France sending some ID, and I said, why this girl with 19 years old found our project and invest $100? And Enzo said, it's my marketing strategy. And it works. So the question is, what do you think is on nowadays the future of the engagement of the community that we have nowadays, and what application for the future can keep them as lovers of our company, not as clients, but as they understand that we create a movement. I would like to explain a little bit about that.
Okay, so first, please stand your hands who thinks that we are in bear markets, in crypto market and asset markets,
All
stock
of us.
markets. Okay, so I think that if we're living now in a bear market, is the best way to see the difference between price and value. You can see that most of 99% of the products of crypto are going down. But you can see that the ones that have value will become more stronger later. The
Yeah.
same happens in startups. Because if you have a sector in startup that is losing the market, some are gonna die, the others who keeps in the bear market and goes to bull market, they have more market share. And that's our strategy in our business. So we want to make people feel that they love our brand. We are not just a product. As Geraldo told, we are a movement. So when we talk about movement, we are talking about creating a tribe, people who loves us, but not just loves one startup, two startups. They see the business long term. I always tell everyone, like, if you invest in uShark nowadays, I don't know. If you look for price, maybe when you reach the next you sell, no, we don't need to. We want the people who look for value. And that's why we want to build a solid community.
Very good, very good. And it's important because when I was listening people talk about success behind some startup that's really performing well, uh, and I got the luck because I remember that I saw a paper. I'm not sure if it was in Harvard Business School, but I saw it anywhere that in some time, some kind of startups with a disruptive business model, they have some difficulty to really keep growing because when the VC got attention of that kind of startups, and sometimes VC bring a lot of traditional uh, environment and atmosphere that can make the startup old, not working as a startup. When I look in our project, I can see we got a luck because in our team, you can see many different skills. We have the real corporate and senior and with a lot of experience guy to manage the investment fund as Mr. Calegari, but he didn't put the traditional way, old school way to manage some company. He allow us, me, Enzo, Tiago, Fred, and Luis, do our job in the crypto space. So I think this combination is one of the, for sure, a point of the success of our project. And the last questions, because the last 5 minutes, Frederick will make the final speech, just 5 minutes according to our clock, and we'll finish. And we received the suggestion to finish exactly 10 o'clock, and the question and answer will be in the second part of the break, right? If you have some thing to eat or to drink. So 5 minutes, because we have the last question to Enzo. Enzo, you'd like to share the last point of I talk about the metaverse application, because many people cannot be tangible how metaverse can help our project and create a very huge engagement in our DAO consensus, our decentralized anonymous organization, when people will be able to be in the position of Tim, B, and Kiran to watch startups founders make some pitch in a metaverse application.
Okay, who already saw here Shark Tank? Some, yeah. What do you think about having three specialists like Kiran, TMB seated here voting, and the last vote, in case of tie, is yours, of the public?
Exactly.
You know, that's why that we are a movement, because movement brings people to connections. We want to connect you with the startup founder, we want to connect you with our team. It's what we always say. Most of the companies nowadays, they don't show their pillars, and because, for example, they're afraid of losing their control. But we share our values and our strategies, because why? Because our community is our main value. You are part of our business. You are partners. So that's why we are, not that we are starting to invest, but we have the connections in Silicon Valley to develop a metaverse city that will be the beginning of a tangible entrepreneurship movement, where people from all over the world can be together in a room to discuss the products with the same ideas, and later, if the product is good, our team will analyze, they'll analyze the KPIs, and will probably be able for everyone to vote. So we will bring more entrepreneurs in the world, more investors, and that's why we're here. Because that's what I said before. Don't look at price, look at value. And metaverse is a way that we can make it tangible.
Very good, very good. So, guys, we are in the last 6, 7 minutes of the event, and as Roberto said, people are a little tired to keep listening in English. Our founder partner Frederick is the one who are creating the community in Brazil, just with qualified people, because it's not an easy thing to explain. We need to really share the concept, the education, and Calegari is very straight of that. In Brazil, we need first to education the people. The most important point is education the people before, because in September, let me say something that I need to say at the last point. September, we are confirmed to be listing in one of the top 50 exchange of the world, and the last part of my speech is that we are confirmed to be listing in one of the top 10 global exchange very soon. This is already confirmed. So, Freddy, you have your last exactly 5 minutes in front of you, and you can talk in Portuguese. And then question and answer we'll have outside. It's up to you.
Eu só vou pedir para levarem um microfone para a nossa tradutora, porque aí ela vai fazer o inverso.
Você não vai? Como é que você faz 5 minutos?
Ok, ela já está. Ok? Tudo bem? Boa noite, pessoal, tudo bem? Agora, ufa, todo mundo tirando o fone do ouvido. Agora tá até com dor no ouvido aí, né? Igual quando a gente faz viagem de avião, fica com o ouvido doendo do fone. Primeiramente, agradecer a presença de todos. Eu não sei, a câmera está ali, o pessoal de fora também. E a todo mundo que veio não só prestigiar, mas também passar um pouco da visão uShark. Eu acredito muito que para um negócio dar certo, não adianta nada ter um sonho, ter uma vontade, ter simplesmente uma boa ideia. Uma boa ideia, para ela virar um grande negócio, ela precisa de ter gente muito boa, muito competente em cada área. Eu acredito muito que a gente tem isso dentro do nosso projeto hoje. Eu falo seguramente que o que a gente tem hoje em relação a startups, uma coisa você pode ter certeza: os melhores players, as pessoas que mais entendem de startups, parte delas do mundo, estão hoje presentes dentro da uShark para nos ajudar nesse processo de seleção e de colocar os melhores projetos dentro da nossa plataforma. Isso é um ponto muito importante dentro do nosso negócio, porque em setembro vai acontecer algo normal em qualquer mercado, seja ele de ação, seja ele de cripto. Nós iremos ser listados em uma bolsa, nós iremos ser listados nas exchanges. O que vai acontecer em setembro? O que vai fazer com que o preço do nosso token, o preço, valor unitário do nosso token, suba ou desça? Alguém? Quem responde essa?
O que vai fazer o nosso token subir ou descer de preço no momento pós-listagem nas corretoras? Comunidade. O que mais? O que mais? Demanda, perfeito. O que mais? Supply, perfeito também. O que faz um ativo dentro do mercado de cripto ou de qualquer mercado, ele se manter estável nos momentos de bear market ou de bull market, é a percepção de valor das pessoas sobre aquele ativo. Se você perguntar para algumas pessoas que estão aqui na sala, que têm a posse de Bitcoin, de Ethereum, e no momento da queda, tem pessoas vendendo, mas tem pessoas dando risada e comprando mais. Por quê? Porque elas acreditam no manifesto, elas acreditam na tese. Isso remete a gente quando a gente vai pegar lá no Corona Day, Geraldo lembra muito bem, todo mundo lembra do Corona Day, quem opera em qualquer mercado sabe o que aconteceu. O outro está até fazendo isso. O petróleo estava negativo, pessoal, o barril de petróleo estava negativo. Estavam pagando para você levar petróleo.
Away. And what about oil? What happened?
Durante o Corona Day.
Did it stand up during the corona? No, it can't. That's why the oil price got back to what it was before. I'm telling you, doesn't matter the movement, the macro movement of the market. What matters is the thesis of your business. So imagine that crypto market is collapsing. The startups are supporting our business. We have an application in the actual economy. It doesn't matter the market, external market. So we have something that support our business, a support. If you understand the financial market, you know what I mean by support. But we do not have something called about resistance, the limit where you can take, because Bia knows it very well. A startup, when they deliver multiples, are very many multiples. Our business is supported by an actual asset, but if things go right, it's not a promise that things are right. We are talking about HIP, history, and estimate. If we gain scale in the market of startups and the value perception of the community within the crypto market, there's no limit.
No.
It's limitless. People in the hallway, we were talking, people say, so many bad projects in crypto market, bad projects, and they can be scalable, your business with all supporting points. We cannot go wrong. Yes, we can. We are talking about high risk market, but high scalability as well, possibilities that are high. So when we talk about uShark, our biggest challenge, the biggest challenge inside is to have good startups, good market making, good marketing, good management. But the main work, the heart of the business is sitting here on this chair. If it's not for you believing in our business and people around the world believing the business, it's worthless. We have good people managing startups, excellent projects. It doesn't matter. The value perception that the community has on the asset will dictate where uShark is heading. That's why we're talking about the business, but also that is an investment plus two are 4, and then we can get macroeconomic factors. We are talking about feelings. So what makes uShark goes right in the end of the day is what you inside your heart is feeling on this project. Is what makes your eyes shine. Bitcoin, it is what it is. Ethereum, it is what it is because of this, the value perception of the asset, and they believe in the thesis. They know what it means to have that business. And this is the message that I have for you. If your heart is beating hard, we are together. If it's not beating, if there is knowledge for you, that is this delivery that you have from these people. And we are going to have Q&A outside. Let's get together so we can have this chat informally, eye to eye. That question that you have,
that hairy question, the one that thinks that is so hard to ask, you do not have courage to ask, you can ask us outside, and we are going to be ready to answer any question, any comment that you have, okay?
Obrigado,
Thank
gente.
you. Thank you so much.
Último detalhe, semana que vem, confirmado, dia 14, o nosso Crypto Panel será em
Next
português
week will be
com
Portuguese.
parte do pessoal da banca,
Part of the
vice-presidente
people,
da STF, Aires Brito, presidente da Philips do Brasil, e
president
mais
of
os dois
Philips,
convidados que a gente vai anunciar durante a semana.
that we are going to
Obrigado, até a
Thank you
próxima,
so much.
gente.
See you
Valeu!
next time. Thank you.